Who likes paying taxes? No one likes paying taxes. I can help you avoid paying the tax man for your engine. Who's the tax man for your engine? Friction. Friction is the enemy of your engine. It robs horsepower and increases wear. Piston rings are the #1 source of friction in your engine. That means it's robbing the most amount of horsepower and causing the most amount of wear in your engine. So if I go to a lower tension ring, a thinner ring, I can reduce the tax that I'm paying and increase the life of my engine because I'm going to decrease wear and I'm going to increase horsepower. Hey, you spent your good hard-earned money getting the best parts and building a great engine, so why give away wear? Why give away horsepower by using thick, high-tension rings? When we're talking about low-tension rings, it's not just the top ring or the oil ring for that matter. You want to take the tension out of the entire ring set. You don't want too little tension, but you don't want too much tension. Let me give you an example. An old school 5/64, 3/16 ring set is going to generate about 34 pounds of total tension. Well, in the old days, the cylinders with those 5/64, 3/16 ring sets last about 50,000 miles. Today's modern engines from the OEMs have 1.2 millimeter, 1.2 millimeter, 3 millimeter ring sets that generate about 14, 15 pounds of tension. So that's half the tension of what was before, and those engines will live several 100,000 miles. It's not uncommon to see 150, 200,000 miles on those cylinder bores. Because of that lower tension, you're not being as aggressive wearing the cylinder bore out. Plus, you get to use a lower viscosity oil. So all of that together helps reduce the amount of tax that you're paying in terms of tension, friction, and wear. You don't need to do that. You can use thinner rings. Now, you don't have to go all the way crazy like NASCAR and run a 0.5 millimeter ring. Heck, you can run a ring twice the thickness they run in a NASCAR engine, a 1 millimeter ring, and get 70% less wear than a 5/64 ring. We've actually proven it. If you run a 16th ring versus a 0.7 millimeter ring, you can see a reduction in wear by 55%, which, by the way, that corresponds directly to the size of the ring. A 0.7 millimeter ring is 55% thinner than a 16th ring. And that gives you more horsepower and 55% less wear. Who doesn't want to avoid the tax man? We all want to avoid the tax man. So you want to avoid paying extra tax in your engine by running thicker, higher tension rings. Now, in some cases, say a Pro Mod or nitrous, something like that, you need a higher tension ring because you gotta have good ring seal. You need thicker rings to move all the heat that's created by nitrous. That's fine, but don't go over the top unless the engine tells you need it. If you run more tension than the engine needs, you're gonna shorten the life of the engine. You're also going to increase the amount of wear that's occurring throughout the engine because as those cylinder bores wear, it's releasing metal into the engine. All that metal that's moving through the engine, the filter is going to capture most of it, but it doesn't capture all of it. So it's going to increase wear on all the other components. So that's the critical thing. You want to reduce the amount of wear in your engine by reducing the amount of cylinder bore wear. How do you do it? You go to a steel ring that's PVD coated. Those PVD coatings on the ring are easier on the bore. They have, especially it's a natural dry film lubricant on the ring. In ring reversal, which is the highest load, slowest speed, thinnest oil films, you're getting extra protection for your cylinder bore by having that PVD coating on the ring. A PVD coated ring is one way to get around the tax man. The thinner ring, lower tension ring is the other way to get around the taxman. And then you also don't want to run an oil that's too thick, because part of that friction is the fluid film viscosity. So you want to know your oil temperature and then choose the correct viscosity oil for your application. If it's too thick, you're going to give away power and you're probably going to increase wear at startup. Again, you're paying tax. You don't want it too thin though, because then it can increase wear and cause other damages. Another thing we can do is change the second ring and make it a Napier style ring. That Napier hook on the end of the ring can scrape the oil off the cylinder wall better, because the top ring's all about sealing. The second ring is 80% oil control, only 20% sealing. So the second ring can work with the oil ring to have proper oil control. So you're not having too much oil consumption, because you don't want oil in the combustion chamber, but you don't want to leave that tension so high that it's wearing the cylinder out. So by combining a Napier second with a lower tension oil ring, you get great oil control with lower overall tension, which means more horsepower and increased cylinder life. So these are awesome ways you can use piston rings and motor oil to avoid the taxman.